Hey, okay, Healthy Pals, take two, trying this again. I wasn't able to see any comments earlier, or any activity whatsoever, so I'm trying again. If not, I'm not worried about it. We're just gonna keep going. But welcome to our Q&A Friday. It's Friday. I'm really excited to be here. We have lots of great questions, as always. As you're logging in, let me know where you're watching from. And we'll get started as soon as we get a few viewers. And once again, I'm so sorry. I'm having technical difficulties, but that's okay. The show must go on. The Q&As must go on. So I've got some great news. It's a new month, right? We're in November, and November is here, and it's a little chilly here, so I got my jacket on, but it's not as cold, so I didn't need my woolies today. But I've got some great news. We got a new Retemery card that we are going to be going over this whole month. And if you purchase something, you get this card for free as a thank you in your box. So I've got some great comments coming in on my computer. I can see you. Deborah from Kentucky's here. Mackenzie is here from Nebraska. So glad you're here, ladies and gentlemen. It's been neat to hear so many people actually really commit to watching this every week, so that's fun. Okay, so our new scripture this month is Jeremiah 29:13. Okay, if you have your Bible, you can go there. If you want to write it down, make your own Retemery card at home, you can do that too. Just get some old note cards or get some paper and just write this scripture down. But this is the scripture we're going to be going over together as a group all month on our lives, and it's Jeremiah 29:13. And it says, "And ye shall seek me and find me when you shall search for me with all your heart." Isn't that beautiful? So keep that in your frontal lobe all week long. Anytime you're feeling discouraged or, sad or just delayed in life, put this in the front of your mind. Something to think about and to encourage you. And I love that. "And you shall seek me and find me when you search for me with all your heart." So go after God. Look for him with everything you got. Pamela's here. Pamela, thank you for watching. We have Donna from Crystal River, Florida. I bet it's nice and warm there. We have Anna from New Jersey, and then we have Amy from Tulsa. Hey, you're my neighbor. So we got some wonderful viewers today. But yes, that is our scripture card. And I've got some wonderful show and tells behind me. So as we're talking today, I'll show you those. I apologize because I'm not seeing your comments, so I may not be able to answer you directly. I'll have to work both back and forth from my computer and my phone. So I'm so sorry. My phone is not cooperating today. But we got lots of viewers. We're going to get started. We have about 40 viewers. We have people watching from Tennessee, Donna, Tabitha from Washington. We have another person from Green Clove Springs, Florida. That's Tammy. Magnolia, Arkansas, Sheila. So thank you everyone for being here. And let's get started. So as always, I always do my subscriber questions first. If you're a subscriber, that's one of the perks. So you can join our subscriber page at any time. The link is on the top of my page if you'd like to join. There's lots of wonderful fun perks to being a subscriber. So let's start with our questions from our subscribers. This one is from Storm Parker. And she says, "I know one thing that's supposed to help with digestion and also kidneys is drinking lemon water. However, it makes my stomach hurt. Definitely an acidic feeling. So yes, maybe not take it at the moment, but what is making that happen when it's supposed to help and how to fix it? Would I need something like HCl?" Well, honestly, everybody's different. And just because lemon water is good for some people, it might not be good for you. And the best person to ask is your body. And clearly your body is not liking it because it's making your stomach hurt. So your body's telling you, not a fan of lemon water. Personally, I can't drink lemon water every day. It makes me my skin very dry, and it also gives me urinary tract infections. And I don't know why, but I do know it causes it, so I just avoid it. Now, I can have lemon as flavoring and in foods, but I can't supplement with lemon water every morning. I can't get up and drink lemon water with a glass of water every morning. And you know what? I haven't really thought about why not. I've just thought about other ways I can strengthen my hydrochloric acid the way my body likes. And my body doesn't mind cayenne pepper. So cayenne pepper is another great way to stimulate your hydrochloric acid. You can take a hydrochloric acid supplement, but I recommend just doing it naturally. Let your body do it naturally. And that's making sure you have plenty of hydration. Make sure you're not dehydrated. Make sure you're drinking plenty of water. Make sure you are not drinking with your meals. Make sure you try other things. So avoid lemon water and try other things like cayenne pepper. You can take 1 to 3 capsules 1 to 3 times a day before a meal with a little bit of water. You can do that if you like, or you can open the capsule, or you can take a teaspoon of the powder. You can do 1/4. If that's too much, try 1/8. If that's too much, do 1/16. Do a pinch, but take a little bit of the cayenne in, a little bit, about 2 to 3 ounces of water, and you just mix it and you take a shot back of it. It's spicy. You can do that before a meal or after, but it's all in the mind. It's all mindset. If you say it's too hot, then your body's gonna be like, it's too hot. But if you just say it's tingling and warm, it's more palatable, and it doesn't last forever. The heat doesn't last forever. The sensation of that warmth does not last too long, and it's not really burning you. But I would just look into other things to do. If lemons are bothering you, I would look at other things and other ways to strengthen your hydrochloric acid. And those are some ways to do that. Now, Melody says, and if you have any questions, I can try to refresh my computer. I just don't want to take too much time away from our very precious 60 minutes. I will go longer. I'll go to 10:05 at least to make up for being late. Okay, so if you have any questions about that, you can ask about the scripture. The scripture was Jeremiah 29:13. Jeremiah 29:13, and I might be a little delayed in answering. Apologies. Okay, Melody says, and she's one of our subscribers, Melody Dorton. My 21-year-old daughter has a painful hemorrhoid. She has always struggled with constipation as well. We are working on her diet, but just wondering what else she can do. So I love that you are aware and are acknowledging that diet has a huge play in the constipation world. Make sure your diet is ideal for your colon movement for peristalsis. Make sure you're not eating too many refined carbohydrates. Make sure you're eating plenty of good fats, plenty of good fiber, plenty of good protein, and yes, avoiding the foods that can really clog up the colon. Also, make sure she's drinking plenty of water. The colon needs water. It requires water. Your whole body requires water. So make sure you're staying hydrated. So I'm so glad to hear you're working on that. Exercising is helpful. Doing squats is helpful. And, but there are some things you can take in the meantime as you're waiting and you're adjusting for the new lifestyle and diet changes to start taking place, because it takes a little time as these new habits are formed. And there's some things you can take, like colon tea. Colon tea is a great blend. We make it here at the store. It's made with buckthorn, licorice, and cascara. And it's a great blend. You mix and you drink. And there's certain instructions depending on how frequent or irregular you are. That's how much you would drink before bed. So that's helpful for those. We also have a colon tea tincture. So we made that same recipe into a tincture. This is working wonderful for a few of our wonderful shoppers here that are regulars. regulars. But it's also good to acknowledge that it's good to encourage your body to use these things to heal. But you definitely want to look into, why is my body not doing it on its own, and really focus on encouraging your body to start moving on its own. And another thing is a lot of times people just ignore their bowels. Well, I don't have time to go to the bathroom right now. I'll go in an hour. Well, the colon doesn't want to go in an hour. The colon wants to go at that moment. So make sure you are listening to your body and not putting those symptoms off. Those wonderful bowel movements, you want to feel those, and you want to excuse yourself and use the restroom. And same thing when you have urgency to urinate, you make sure you go to the bathroom right away. Nurses, you must take a break. I know you're super busy. Teachers, I know you're super busy, but you must, for your bladder, take a little bit of a moment and make sure you are using the restroom when you need to use the restroom. I have a very important meeting. I'll be right back. So that's a good one. Colon tea is good in a tincture, or you can look for it in a herb tea. And then there's something called Peace Please. It's a hemorrhoid relief essential oil blend. And we get this brought in from Australia. It's really good stuff. It smells wonderful. It's made with so many wonderful essential oils that are very good for reducing inflammation and pain. And some of those, it's also made with jojoba oil. You can also dilute it with some coconut oil if you find it's a little too strong. It's got helichrysum, cypress oil, frankincense, lavender, geranium, sandalwood. So it's got some really great essential oils in it. It also comes with a really great pamphlet of tips to help you to avoid hemorrhoids long term. So that comes with it. And you can find that, and it smells amazing. So you can find that on our website. It's called Peace Please by Earth Bless, and it's good stuff to help soothe the hemorrhoids. And also you can make your own suppositories, and that is by getting a plastic glove. Make sure it's BPA free if you can, or if you're allergic to certain types, make sure it's suitable for your needs and your allergies. But you can pour 50-50 of coconut oil and castor oil, and you could even put some of the essential oil blend in it, the Peace Please, in that mix. And then you would freeze, so you pour them into the fingertips, have someone help you with the glove, and you would melt it accordingly, not too hot, but you would melt that concoction together on a very low heat, just till it starts to melt, and you pour that into the fingers. And then just use a piece of floss and tightly tie the fingers closed, and then lay it on like a baking sheet or a glass pan or something, so that way it doesn't leak on accident. And you would need to freeze that for sometimes a couple days. Sometimes it'll freeze quicker, depends on your ratio. You can also, and then you insert that. So you would insert that rectally to help soothe your hemorrhoids. And you could do that at night. Make sure you wear a pad to help, or they make the incontinence pads. You could use those too if you're going to use it at night, so it doesn't make a mess as it melts. But it is very soothing. Another thing you could do is use a piece of frozen aloe, the gel only. Don't leave the prickly skin of the aloe. That will not feel good. So please don't do that. But cut the skin off and use just the gel, and you can use that same way. You would freeze little cubes of that, and then once they're frozen, you can insert that rectally. You can do that during the day or in the evening. Don't worry, it will work itself out, if you know what I mean, in time. Okay, so we had, Tasha said, is it safe to take the colon tea tincture daily long term? It is safe to take it daily. Long term, it depends on how long you're talking. As I was saying earlier, you really want to address why your colon isn't going in the first place. Is there diet changes that need to be made? Is there lifestyle changes that need to be made? Are you drinking water and things like that? So of course, we always want to depend on our body first and foremost, not being dependent on a herb or a medication or anything like that the rest of our life. We really want to give our body everything it needs to just do it on its own and to support it. Okay, so that was a little bit on hemorrhoids. If you have any questions on that, please let me know so I can see what that is about. But I don't see any right now. Okay. This next question is from another subscriber. Her name is Celestial. What are some natural ways to lower bad cholesterol levels? Trying to stay off medication, eating heart-healthy foods like those in the Mediterranean diet, also working out 6 days a week for an hour. That's wonderful. Good job. You're taking action. That's important. The first step is action. And there's, you know what, there's really no such thing as bad cholesterol. They've made it an enemy, but actually cholesterol is our friend. It's just that fact of why is there so much of it, right? Why is there so much? There are some really great books, and I brought them to show you. I feel like reading Rainbow right now, like LeVar Burton. Take a look, it's in a book. Okay, be healthy. But The Great Cholesterol Con is by Dr. Malcolm Kendrick, is really good. I met him in Scotland, in Europe, and he's really wonderful. Really nice, funny guy. But this is a really good book. His newest book, The Clot Thickens, is also, it's a heavier one to read. So I'll be honest, I have to read some of that stuff over and over, and then have a dictionary and then go look up the medical terms. And sometimes it'll take me like a couple hours just to read a page and understand it. So this one's a far more easy to follow. But this is by Dr. Malcolm Kendrick. He talks about the Great Cholesterol Con. There's so many cons when it comes to myths all these kinds of things when it comes to cholesterol being an enemy. There's another one called Lipitor Thief of Memory by Dr. Dwayne Graveline. And this is a fantastic book. This man was internal medicine. He was a physician. He was an astronaut. There's this picture on the back. He talks about what was happening to him when he was put on Lipitor, and even on a small dose, how he was losing his memory. It's The Thief of Memory. But this is a really easy to read book. As I get older, I appreciate the larger print. Wink, wink. And so it's a larger print, which is nice. And so you can find all these books. If you can't find them near you, you can find them on our website, in our book nook. Some of them are used because I just gobble up books whenever I can find them. And some of them are brand new. And then the other one that's one of my favorites is by Alan Watson. It's called Serial Killer. Don't worry, it's not talking about that kind of cereal, but this kind of cereal. And it talks about cholesterol in this too. It's got some great studies, and it's really easy to follow. Very short chapters, which is nice. So you feel like you accomplished something in your reading that day. So those are some books that can help you understand the role of cholesterol and understand that it's actually not an enemy, and understand the misconception with high levels. Do you know, I find the levels are going lower and lower every day with what's considered unhealthy. A man just came in with a level of 119, and they had him they're keeping him on his statins, and his muscles were starting to atrophy. He was getting muscle wasting. He came in and he just was really stiff. He couldn't move. And so, of course, I told him all the things that I'm telling you guys, and the importance of cholesterol. Cholesterol helps us make our sex hormones. Cholesterol helps us think clearly. That's why a lot of people, when they're put on statins, they start to not think clearly. They start to get Alzheimer's and dementia, and lose their thought. Cholesterol-lowering medications can block the CoQ10 pathway. There's a whole lot to it, but we need our cholesterol. We need cholesterol to convert the sunshine into vitamin D. So it's very, very important. We need it to make our sex hormones, like I said. It's a very important ingredient in the body. Vitamin D is very important in the body, and cholesterol is very important in the body. It's just when there's too much that we need to raise the question mark. Okay, what do I need to do to assist my body and help my body? And mostly you'll see that what's damaging the arterial walls and the body and causing the cholesterol to have to come and bandage and patch up is due to the free radicals in the blood and the toxins and the chemicals and all the things that refined sugar is a big one. It makes the blood sticky. And so these are culprits in the blood that don't belong there. And when they're there, they're causing damage to our arterial veins. And so we want to be careful. So avoid your refined sugars, eat more natural sweeteners, make sure you're drinking water and avoid caffeine. Make sure you're avoiding alcohol and drink water. Have lovely herbal teas without caffeine. Just little changes like this. Watching the chemicals that you spray in your home to clean your house with. Watch what you're breathing in. Is the air quality you're breathing in your home good? What are you, cleaning your dishes with? What are you washing your laundry with? What kind of clothing are you wearing? There's clothing that is absolutely toxic to our health. And so you have to be very careful. So these are little things to think about. And you want your blood to stay as clean as possible. So the life of the flesh is in the blood in Leviticus 17:11. And so we want to make sure our blood has plenty of what it's known to be carrying. And that is water and minerals and nutrients and oxygen. And so we want to make sure we're giving all these things to our body as much as possible. Exercising, eating lots of fruits and vegetables, avoiding the foods that cause harm to the body. So these are some little adjustments that you can do. Now, there are some great herbs for cholesterol, for blood, for heart health. Those are hawthorn berry. Hawthorn berry is a great heart strengthening herb. So you could look into taking hawthorn berry. There's also cayenne pepper, which you talked a little bit about cayenne pepper. That's also wonderful. And when you pair cayenne with any other herb, it makes it even more helpful and powerful in the body. So definitely pair, when you can, your cayenne with your other herbs for whether it's heart health or cholesterol or blood pressure, whatever it might be. These are some really great things. There's also, of course, your ginger, your garlic, your turmeric, your selenium, flaxseed oil, omega-3s. So there are some really wonderful herbs out there that will help you with your blood. But the best thing, first and foremost, is to absolutely watch out for refined sugar, absolutely watch out for unneeded chemicals, what do you call it? Biohazard food. That's what I was going to say. A bioengineered food. It is biohazard food. Bioengineered food and genetically modified food, Frankenstein foods. These are the things that we want to definitely avoid as much as possible. And you could look into balancing your hormones, which we're going to talk about in a little bit too. Okay. But I think what you're doing so far is great. It sounds like you're on a good diet and you're working out. And so now just look at all the other things too. Tommy Chris, one of our subscribers, says, I heard bamboo silica can affect kidneys. I was taking for hair and nails, but stopped now. Is this something I should take daily? Okay, let me look really quick, make sure I did not have any questions on the last thing I talked about. Emily Ramirez says, I took my husband and parents off the cholesterol meds and they are doing great! Exclamation point, exclamation point. That's wonderful. Let's see. Okay, yeah, that was the only comment on that. So, okay, so back to this one about bamboo silica. So I've heard about this, and you know, the studies that they've done on animals was on silica, also nanoparticles of silica being actually inhaled through the animals. So it wasn't, some of the studies that are showing that linking kidney disease to silica is through inhalation of nanoparticles of silica. I've not seen anything targeting bamboo silica specifically, especially most people don't inhale the bamboo silica. They're actually just taking it as a supplement. So I haven't really seen anything that, that makes it guilty of being bad. But there is some dangers to inhaling those nanoparticles of silica. But bamboo silica is actually a natural element. So preferably, I mean, honestly, what I like to do for my hair, skin, and nails is just eating mineral dense foods. So in your natural foods and your herbs. So, you know, your dark leafy green vegetables, a plethora of different amounts. You know, pomegranates are amazing. You know, just having a different variety of different foods. Your high mineral herbs and like stinging nettle, for example, lots of wonderful minerals and vitamins and nutrients. And nettle is wonderful for your hair, skin, and nails. There's also rosemary, horsetail. What are some other one of my favorites? I said stinging nettle, ginseng, ginger, turmeric. Look for really bright, beautiful herbs. Have a plethora in your diet. But your hair, skin, and nails will get the extra. I always talk about this with people. Your hair, skin, and nails is a great example of your internal nutrient density. If you have extra, your body's going to show it through the glow, through the hair, through the skin, through the nails. If the body's just getting by, you might not have such a sparkle. And if you're not getting enough at all, your body's just worried about getting you through the day, making sure you're breathing and your heart is pumping and, you're getting enough water. And so, you know, so give your body a plethora of nutrients and minerals and vitamins and, antioxidants, and you'll start to see your hair, your skin, and nails start thriving. So make sure you just get an abundance of those things. But actually garlic's been shown to really help with fingernails. You can even rub castor oil on the nails. If you wanted to help strengthen the nail beds. I go back and forth between letting my nails grow out and cutting them. So, you know, they definitely grow because I'm always having to file them back. But, yeah, we make a blend too. I was studying these women in India and they have beautiful hair, thick, shiny hair. And a lot of the commonality between what they were drinking was, where is it? Oh, I put it in this blend because of that. It's horsetail, rosemary, stinging nettle, and curry. So they consume a lot of curry, and they also make curry tea for their hair. And so I thought, oh, okay. So we just put that in a tea blend. And so you can actually infuse water and drink water. This in a water form. You can make it in a hot tea form. And remember, you can use your herbs twice. So, and in the book that I'm reading, Corrie ten Boom, I read it when I was like 8 or 10. And I'm reading it again now. And I'm just like in awe. Like they would use their herbs over and over and over again when they were underneath the communism of Germany, infiltrating. They weren't allowed, you know, they're on rations. They weren't allowed food and stuff. This is while they were hiding people. This is their book. This is her book called The Hiding Place. If you haven't read it, please do. It's by Corrie ten Boom. And she talks about how they would use the herbs over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. But so you definitely can use them twice. I always chuckle now because I'm like, well, I think, using herbs twice, Corrie ten Boom would probably think, oh, this is incredibly flavorful. So anyways, yes, this was very good for your hair, skin, and nails. And then we did make it into a tincture. Ta-da! So depends on how some people just don't have time to make a tea, and I understand. I like to make a tea. I find it kind of comforting and a treat. I'm going to make a tea and try different things. Now my tea is very plain. It's just the herbs. I don't add milk. I don't add sugar. I don't add cream. I don't add anything like that. It's just the herbs, because you can really destroy the whole purpose of taking herbs by adding refined sugar, or, other things. But if you want to add honey, you can. If you have diabetes or if you're battling high blood sugar, I would not. I would just abstain and stick straight to the herbs. Okay, so that answers that question. Donna, let's make sure we don't have any here. Looks like we're all right so far. Refresh. I'm having to refresh. One day I'll have a really super professional setup, guys, I promise. But until then, you get to be a part of this whole excitement. Patricia said, what causes ridges on your nails? It can be a few different things, but what I would do is I used to just file them gently with a little castor oil. And I would do that when I would see it kind of starting. And it's actually just resolved itself over time. I don't have that problem anymore. So make sure you're eating lots of minerals too. That's helpful, but just rub in castor oil. Try castor oil. You can always mix it with one of the herb essential oils we just talked about, or drink some tea. Okay, Donna Bransfield Thomas says, what can I use on poison ivy outbreaks? Oh yes, do I know this well, because I have 4 boys, 5 counting my husband, that are always out in the woods, in the deep woods. And then she said, what can I put on fire ant bites? She said, I'm so glad you're back home and doing weekly question talk time. I really do enjoy tuning in. I'm so glad you're here, and I'm so glad you like joining in. Okay, so the first thing I noticed with my son Jonas is he would get poison ivy so bad it would start to cause blisters. And when I took him to the doctor for the first time, they wanted to put him on steroids, and I said absolutely not. I just wanted to know if there's anything natural you would recommend, and he looked at me like I was absolutely nuts. So I thought, okay, well, that's good. But it was good to go. I was good to go, get his point of view, find out what he would do, and what he would do is not what I wanted to do. So I literally just kind of put something together. I thought, well, what about apple cider vinegar to dry it up? And how about baking soda? That's just what came to me. So what I did is I put my son Jonas in a bath of baking soda, warm water, and apple cider vinegar. And I had him soak for about 30 minutes. The water was warm, so it was pleasant. And he felt like it was wonderful. You can add Epsom salts if you want to it as well. We've done that before. You could add like chamomile if you want something soothing for the skin. There's other things you could look into, calendula. But really when he was getting it so bad and it was spreading everywhere, I was like, okay, into the bath. And so what he would do is when he'd get out, I'd have him either pat dry, never rub dry, but just pat. And we never used the same towel. He always got a new towel every time he took a bath. And we did this sometimes twice a day. And we would pat him dry, and then I would spray him with pure apple cider vinegar in a spray bottle. And if he wasn't scratching, it didn't hurt. But the areas that he scratched, it would burn a little. So FYI, moms of littles, it may sting a little, but it doesn't last forever. It usually stops stinging once it dries. I would encourage him to use ice when he was itchy. We'd get him a little piece of ice cube, and he would just rub. And it seemed to help freeze and numb that area so he wouldn't itch. Because once you itch one spot, the histamine just starts to spread everywhere. So it gets just out of control. So try to control the itching. Try not to spread it. Try not to use the same cloth and spread it all over. That's why I did a spray bottle of apple cider vinegar. And then we would air dry, and then he'd put his clothes on. And he would just wear a new outfit twice a day. I would have him when he did another bath later. Same thing. I'd just get him a new outfit. And we would do the same process again. And that really helped to dry it out. Really fast. In fact, he wasn't having the swelling or anything like that. You can apply calendula salve topically. It's one of my favorites for anything that looks like it wants to get infected because of the scratching. And that helped a lot. So hopefully that will help you with your poison ivy. It really helps us. There's also a homeopathic remedy called Rust Tox, and you can give that to someone internally if you want to try homeopathics. The other thing when you're asking about ant bites, which is also common when you have lots of boys and children who love to be outside, or you're outside and outdoors, depending on where you live. I lived in Texas. I remember when I was little, I sat in an ant patch, a fire ant patch. I remember it to this day. I wish I knew about poultices when I was 6 years old. I did not. It was horrible. But what you want to do for like an ant bite or any kind of bug bite is immediately give the person charcoal to take internally. And then also, I always clean it. So if you have hydrogen peroxide, you can spray that off. If you some healthy soap and water, just give it a little scrub, to clean it. Depending if it's a tick bite, I always put tea tree oil on it too. That's just something I've always done. But with, an ant bite or a bug bite, yeah, I would make a charcoal poultice. And you can do that by just opening a charcoal capsule or have charcoal powder on hand, and you mix that with a little bit of water, and, you get a paste, and you just use that paste. You can even do it with your finger if you don't have much. You can make it with your finger and just dab it onto the bite or the sting or the wound, wherever it is. And charcoal as an adsorber, which means it adsorbs and neutralizes toxins and poisons and venom, right, from these different kinds of bugs and ants and things, and the sting and stuff. So that's very helpful. Charcoal is wonderful. If you don't have charcoal, you can use bentonite clay. It's also an adsorber, which neutralizes and it absorbs hot toxins. So you could use, or you can mix them both if you have it all. If you want a little bit more pliability, where you can actually make a bunch. And if you've ever seen some of the videos, you can see that they put charcoal in a bag, then they put psyllium in a bag, and they add some water, and they make a paste, and then they flatten the bag, the Ziploc bag out flat, and you can keep this in the freezer or the fridge, and then you already have a little poultice to go, basically, and you keep it in your fridge all summer long. But it really doesn't take long to make it, real fast. You can make it. So always have psyllium husk, charcoal, bentonite clay. Have some of these things on hand for you in the summer months, or whenever you find you might be getting a bug bite. And that is very helpful to help. Also, hydrotherapy is helpful when it starts to become very itchy, because I know after a bee sting, usually the next day you have to deal with swelling. So you could try a potato poultice. You can even try a potato poultice the first day. But potato poultices are helpful for reducing inflammation. And then the hydrotherapy is super helpful. So hydrotherapy first, then your potato poultice, after the charcoal. Yeah, that's what I would do. Okay. Angela says, best way to detox from mold toxicity. So she has two questions. And then her next question is, matcha tea has a lot of health benefits, but does have caffeine. Thoughts? And then she has another one, healthiest way to do a 3-day fast. So these are some pretty loaded, big questions. So I'm going to answer them briefly, because we don't have a time to go in depth. I could probably spend an hour on each question. So the first thing, what's the best way to detox from mold toxicity? I know this one very well because I had breast implants, and when I had them in, I had, they started growing mold, and there was mold on them actually when I had them removed. The nurse had told me, and I still have them, and you can see the mold. But I don't have them in, I have them in a container, because I'm like, wow, I can't believe that was in my body. Like that, it's just a wake up call for me. It was the catalyst to pursuing my health in a whole new level, and also a catalyst to being appreciative of the body that God gave us, in a whole nother level. So I keep them I keep it in a little container to keep me humble and to remember that and to be thankful. But yes, there is a way you can do this, and it takes time, and it takes, diligence. The first thing is you have to stop sugar. You have to stop all sugar intake, even fruit. There's a few protocols you can look into and doing candida cleanses, protocols. Doug Kaufman has a great protocol for removing mold out of the body. If you don't know him, check him out. He's got a great, he's got some lives that he does, Know the Cause. And the name of his book is Cancer is a Fungus. And so he talks about the link of mold and in food and what we need to do to help rid it out of the body. So that's a good one. Start following him and take some notes on him. He knows a lot when it comes to mold because he was exposed to it. But yeah, you have to stop the sugar, and that's all fruit too. You have to stop all yeast. That includes alcohol and breads, because that only feeds the mold and the candida and the yeast and the fungus. And then you alternate herbs weekly, or bi-weekly. There's certain herbs you can take that are very antimicrobial, antifungal, antibacterial, and that will annihilate abnormal amounts of this candida, also mold in the body. And some of those herbs are olive leaf. That's one of them. Another one is oregano. Oregano is another. There's grapefruit seed extract. You can take these in essential oils. You can take them, make sure they're food grade. You can take them in herb form. You can take them in tea form, but I prefer the stronger, which is like the supplement form or the liquid form. Those tend to be the strongest. So we said garlic is another good one. Ginger is a good one. Pau d'arco is another great herb you can look into for helping cleanse the body from mold. Obviously, you need to get away from it. You need to get away from the mold. You can't be in the environment and constantly be around it. If you walk into a building that has it, you can smell it right away. You know what mold smells like, or you see it, you need to get out of that area if you know you're exposed to mold. So that's a little bit on mold. Sorry, you can't spend too much time on it, but mold is is a serious thing. There's certain foods that are full of mold. Peanuts are one of them. Avoid it. Corn has a lot of mold. So these are some things that you have to be careful of when you are doing a candida cleanse and trying to remove mold from the body. Matcha tea has a lot of health benefits, but does have caffeine. Thoughts? Yes, matcha tea has a lot of caffeine in it, actually. It can have 64 to 152 milligrams of caffeine per cup, depending on what size your cup is, depending on what, brand or what mixture you're using. So, I find matcha tea is like coffee. So I don't think people should be using matcha tea as a supplement. I'm taking my matcha for my health. I think there's other things you can take that actually do the body far better good without depleting the minerals, depleting your calcium, depleting your magnesium, becoming acidic to the body. In the long run, I think that will cause you more good than bad. So matcha tea is kind of like having a piece of chocolate, right? Enjoy it if you want to every now and then, but I don't think you should be supplementing with chocolate. I don't think you should be supplementing with matcha tea. And definitely I don't think people should be making coffee whatsoever. Go try herbal teas. That's the best way to go. But caffeine is a serious detriment to our health. It is I think refined sugar and caffeine are some of the worst things we can have in our diet as far as our health goes. There's more books on the subject. There's Sugar Blues by William Duffy. There's Pure White and Deadly by John Yudkin. There is Serial Killer, which I just mentioned with Alan Watson. Talks about sugar in the bloodstream, what it does. There is Why We Sleep by Matthew Walker, which if you're part of our subscriber page, that's our book club this month. So I'm learning a lot about caffeine in that book, the dangers of caffeine. And then there is Caffeine Blues by Stephen Chernisky, I believe. So these are some things that you guys can look into it for yourself. I'm not here to convince anybody. I'm just here to say, it could be this. But no, I personally wouldn't drink matcha tea. I would do other things that have the same health benefits that matcha can offer, that don't have any side effects to poor health. Healthiest way to do a 3-day fast. So it depends on why you're doing your fast. There's many reasons why people do a fast. One is vanity, right? Let's be honest. We've all been there. We all lose and shed some weight before the wedding or whatever it might be. But one of the major reasons is for spiritual reasons, right? There's a lot of wonderful benefits to fasting when it comes to the Word of God. And so it really just depends on why you're fasting. For what purpose are you fasting? Is it a health condition? Do you have a disease in the body? Are you wanting to just feel closer to the Lord and get rid of distractions out of your life? So that's what I base my fast on, is why am I fasting? And for what purpose? So that's the first thing you always want to ask yourself. Definitely anyone can do intermittent fasting, where they don't eat after 5 p.m. and then they don't eat again until the next morning. So, some people really do well on that, where they go about 16 to 18 hours before meals. Some people do really well eating one meal a day in the middle of the afternoon. Some people do great on a water fast. You can look into water fasting. Some people do good on juice fasting. Some people do good on just salt water fasting. So there's all kinds of different fasts. So I can't really answer that. I don't think there's one healthiest way. I think there's an ideal way for what you're trying to pursue at that moment in your life. And you have to be careful depending on what ailment that is or what you're doing it for. Make sure you know what you're doing, and kind of be prepared for what you need to do to accomplish that fast. I think the biggest importance is accomplishing it and not stopping in the middle, because sometimes we can stop in the middle of a fast and the body's in the middle of purging those toxins and getting rid of them, and you don't want to stop midway. Okay, Penny said, this is Penny Malley. She says, what can be done to heal hernia in the groin area? And also, is there anything that can be done to heal kidneys that are producing too much protein? So I was just making sure there's no questions. Heal a hernia in the groin area. So one, I would ask, do you have a lot of inflammation? Do you have extra weight on you? Are you a little overweight? Do you need to get some weight off? The biggest thing with those things, with hernias, is one, ask yourself, do I have excess weight that I need to shed? Okay. So if so, let's look into that. Make sure you have a good lifestyle. Your diet is, going to support your goals as far as losing and shedding that weight. Make sure you're not lifting heavy things. A lot of people lift heavy. Make sure you're not constipated and applying pressure to your lower groin area that you don't need, like that straining, Sitz baths. Sitz baths are very important for people who have any kind of, she has on here hernia, but also kidneys. So you can do that for kidneys and for your hernia. Dunia says, love your insight, but I can't write fast enough. Maybe you could look into getting your talk transcribed. Well, what the good thing is this live is available for 30 days. So you know what I do when I really like something someone's saying is I watch it a few times and then I pause the video and then I write it down. And then I watch a little more and I pause the video and I write it down. So you could look into doing that. If there's information you really want to keep and have, that's handy. But yes, I do talk fast because there's a lot to say, and I do have a lot of information to give you guys in an hour, and I try to do the best I can, but sometimes I can't even finish all the questions. I have to stop. But back to the hernia and the kidneys, definitely sitz baths, and that's by sitting in a bucket of hot water or a bathtub. Most people don't have 2 bathtubs. You can go as far as getting those big plastic Rubbermaid containers where you actually sit in it, put them outside or put them in a porch or something. And people do hydrotherapy like that when they can't afford like a sauna and hydrotherapy. So you can actually sit in a cold tub for 30 seconds and then a hot tub for 3 minutes. And you do this for a cycle of 3, but you start with the hot water first. So 3 minutes hot water. You're going to sit in there and make sure your hernia and your kidneys are in the water. And then you're going to do 3 minutes hot water, 30 seconds cold water. And you can even add ice to the cold and make sure you have a hot kettle to make the hot water hotter. Don't burn yourself. Don't do this if you have neuropathy, if you can't feel parts of your body. You have to be very careful. But do that for a cycle of 3. Always end on cold water. I know it is a temptation to end on hot, but you must end with cold. So you can do this a few times each day, at least once a day. That definitely brings new, fresh blood to the area and helps to heal. Now, sometimes there's underlying health issues when it comes to kidneys that are producing too much protein. So make sure you're aware of those things like diabetes or high blood pressure or things like that. So we do make a kidney tea. I have a new kidney tea that I just made. Isn't it beautiful? Ta-da! It looks like a forest. I love it. I was putting this together and I'm like, it's just so pretty. But it's made with celery, corn silk, couch grass, I call it, because the other way doesn't sound so nice. Dandelion root, milk thistle, parsley leaf. And so it's just a really beautiful blend that the kidneys just love all these herbs. We call it the kidney care tea. And you just take a teaspoon of the herbs and you pour a cup of boiling water over it, and you can drink that. You could drink a couple of, you could drink, I think, how many cups can you drink a day? Did I write that on here? Oh yeah. So for compromised kidney health, you want to drink 1 liter a day. But if you're just doing it for overall care for the kidneys, you could do it twice a day. That way you don't waste your herbs, because remember, you can use your herbs twice. So basically this packet of herbs you can use twice. It's recycled twice. Does that make sense? So what I do when I'm using my herbs twice is I'll make a cup, I'll drink it in the morning, and then what I do is I keep that tea bag in the fridge, because you don't want mold or anything to start to develop on your tea bag. And then that afternoon, I'll drink another cup of tea. I don't prefer drinking tea at night because I don't want to get up in the middle of the night and have to use the bathroom. So I usually stop my tea drinking around 4. 4 is about the latest. And sometimes I'll drink a cup of tea later, something fun or cozy, but not usually, because usually then I'll have to get up and go to the bathroom. So that's the kidney tea. I just made that this week. So it is something it's on my mind to do. And here it is. We have a few wonderful friends of ours that are going through renal failure and some serious stages of kidney failure. So I thought, let's get this going for them. Okay. So we were talking about, where was I at? Yes. We were talking about the kidneys. Okay. Brittany's question, what can you do for SIBO? Small intestinal bacterial overgrowth. Definitely look at your history. Were you using antibiotics? Did you do any damage to the gut? Antibiotic use, too much alcohol, too much medications? Is anything killing your beautiful gut lining we have over the villi in the intestine? So there's some things you can do to help establish and balance that. And that is definitely looking into the Candida cleanse, like I was talking about earlier, and avoiding certain foods, and to kind of balance all the bacteria there. Also, you can take slippery elm every day. You can take 1 teaspoon and about a half a cup of water, and you can do that daily. You can do that many times a day, actually, before a meal. It helps to soothe the internal body, the colon and the stomach lining and all that. It helps to soothe it, heal it, and protect it. Aloe water is also good for soothing, healing, and protecting. And then there's other things like digest tea if you find your hydrochloric acid isn't strong enough. Taking a probiotic 45 minutes before breakfast. But really, it's stopping the things that can cause the bad guys to overgrow. And that's refined sugar. That's hybridized wheat. That's caffeine. That's just an acidic environment. So make your environment very alkaline, where you're hosting all the good gut microbiome. Make sure you're eating lots of healthy foods. So it's a little on that. I do talk about that every week. So I know last week I went into depth more on it. And the week before that, I even talked about it and gave a little bit more information. So feel free to watch those old ones, guys. You have 30 days. So you have a whole month to go back and watch them. Sometimes there's the same questions, but sometimes there's a lot of different questions in there and different answers. So that's nice. Denia said, I discovered a lump in my right breast about the size of 2 peanuts in a shell. It moves around a bit. I have no pain. The doctor thinks it's a fibroid. Mammogram with ultrasound scheduled in December. I do see a master herbalist. She prescribed Isaac tea twice a day. Any other suggestions? I do follow Barbara O'Neill and started a castor oil pack. I'm not sure how long to wear it, where to place it. The lump is in my lower part of the right edge of my breast. Also, any dietary suggestions, I am praying on it, and my husband, family, and friends are praying too for the outcome. Thank you. Well, one, if it were me, I would not do a mammogram. Mammograms actually increase your risk of cancers, breast cancers, so that would be out for me. I've never had one. I will never have one. But that's my personal opinion. You always have to do what's best for you and what you think you should do for you and your health. But mammograms are basically, if it is something serious, it's just smashing it, spreading it, and damaging that area, that tissue, that very fragile tissue area, which you want to make sure you are keeping very healthy. I wouldn't do a biopsy either. If that was me. I know you didn't mention that, but I would not if they offer that. Absolutely not. It's interesting. The lady just came in with the very same thing. And this is what I told her, and it's actually gone. She wrote me a wonderful email that it's all gone. Same situation and everything. So what we had gone over is her diet. Make sure you're not eating refined sugar. Make sure you're not eating anything that feeds cancer. Yes, cancer loves to eat sugar. Cancer loves no oxygen. So make sure you're working out. Make sure you're getting plenty of oxygen. Make sure you're getting lots of wonderful water and minerals and nutrients into the blood, avoiding the things that actually hurt the body and feed cancer. So that's the first thing you'll need to do. Go look into, like I said, Doug Hoffman, cancer is a fungus. And I would honestly treat it like it's something serious. Okay, I'm just going to starve it, whatever it might be. It might just be a fibroid. It might just be this, but I always go all out. Like, okay, we're just going to treat it like it could be something that is eating sugar. So we are going to stop the sugar. So follow his protocols, Doug Hoffman. Definitely keep the castor oil compress on that 24/7. Make sure you're not wearing any underwire. Make sure all your clothing touching you is cotton, sports bras, whatever it might be. Make sure it's cotton, linen, all natural, nothing synthetic. Beta-glucan is very good. Great supplement. This is what I told the woman who her lump is now gone. I actually felt it. It was quite hard. It was probably the size of my ring. And she was very concerned, and I was like, listen, try grapeseed extract. So grapeseed extract is also good for these kinds of things. Red clover is also nicknamed the herbal scalpel, the herb of scalpels. So it helps to break up tumor. So those are things that I recommended. Beta-glucan, red clover, grapeseed. I have a hair on my face. Where is it at? There you go. Sorry about that. You can also do a grape poultice. You could do a grape juice poultice where you take fresh grape juice, and you saturate the cloth and you put that on just like a poultice, that grape juice. And then you put a piece of plastic on that and you keep that in over the tissue, for about 12 hours, and you can do a new one. You can even do that with actual grapes. You can smash grapes, put it in a poultice, and use a grape poultice over the area, especially when it comes to, breast ailments, I don't want to say the word, you know what I'm saying, because it's probably not even that, right? Make sure you go on wild yam cream to balance your hormones. That is important to balancing your hormones. So that's what I would do. And yeah, I'll see if I can find that email, and with her permission, I'll post it so you guys can read it. It's such a beautiful email, how those lumps are now gone. And she was doing beta-glucan, grape seed extract. You can even do, what was the other thing? Yeah, the grape poultices and red clover, and stopping the sugar, stopping the hybridized wheat, stopping anything into the body that hurts the body. So that's a little bit on that. But remember, guys, I can't tell you what to do. I can just give you some natural remedy ideas, but you have to make the best choices for you and your health that you find is necessary. Yeah. Lisa says, hello, what are your thoughts on organic granular animal organ capsules for all around health? Is there a brand you prefer? I don't take animal organs. I suppose if you're going to, then you need to make sure they're organic, grass-fed. I don't really take any liver supplements because the liver is the filter. So I don't really agree with eating placentas or livers or things like that. But I acknowledge that there are countries and people who eat all that because they don't want to waste parts of the animal and things. So I would just say, if you're going to do that, then make sure you're getting the best out there. I can't tell you any brands because I have never really looked into it. Jan said, I had a stroke in July, which has reduced my eyesight to 50%. What can I do to improve it? I would consider using castor oil over the eye, also taking St. John's wort to help nourish the nerves. There are wonderful herbs for the eye. You could take eye bright. Eye bright's a wonderful herb for the eye. Bilberry is a good herb for the eye. Make sure you're eating lots of dark leafy green vegetables, taking your minerals, eating your mineral salt, drinking plenty of water. Those are some things I would think about. And definitely St. John's wort, because it's a nerve nourisher. Also, there's a homeopathic remedy called hypericum, which helps nerve damage. So those things, some things you can look into. Francis says, do you have any suggestions for dystonia? I have a friend who has this and it affects her speech and throat. Thank you for all the wonderful information. I enjoy being educated by you. So yes, so that is basically, where was that? That's basically the shaking, right? The first thing I would ask is, does your friend have mercury amalgam fillings? Does she have amalgam fillings? If so, you need to see a biological dentist and have those taken out, because that can cause twitching, nerve spasms. It attacks the myelin sheath of our nerves. So that's something first and foremost I'd ask. Also, breast implants. Does she have breast implants? Any kind of implant does she have? And I would help her go through her diet with her, find out what she's eating, because sometimes it could be things like mercury poisoning, or toxicity poisoning, mold in the body. It can be something, as I say, as easy and simple as that, because once you know what it is, you can really go after it. It's not easy to change. It's simple to change your diet, but it's not so easy sometimes. But it is possible. So I would definitely look into how much water is she drinking? Does she have toxins in the body? And what is her diet like? And kind of go from there. Tanya said, how can I reduce my blood pressure naturally so I don't need medication? So when I was talking about earlier about cholesterol, you can really incorporate a lot of that as same for blood pressure. If your blood pressure is too high, never take licorice. But you can think about things I always ask people is, do you have some weight you need to get off and shed? If so, get that inflammation down and off. Lose the weight that you need to lose. Lose that inflammation to help your heart. Drink plenty of water. Hibiscus. Hibiscus is very good for blood pressure. So is cayenne and hawthorn berry. So that's something you could take. You could make a little tea of all those things, or you could just take supplements if you wanted to. If your blood pressure is really low, you could consider taking licorice to help it come up. Okay. Let's see. Elba says, hello, Jaqueline. I was diagnosed with fibromyalgia back in 2014. I took medication for maybe about a year or so. After that, I stopped. Not crazy about taking meds. Always been in great health. After all these years, I've learned to live with it and got used to living with pain. But this past year has gotten worse, chronic pain to the point where when I lay down, after an hour or so, the pain kicks in and I can't even sleep or get out of bed. Literally, it's a struggle. I'm changing my diet little by little. I went to the doctor on Monday and he gave me something to take, but I don't want to. I'm struggling here. What can you recommend that can really help me? Please, please. I literally feel stiff and move very slowly with pain when I start to walk. So, okay, you said you're changing your diet little by little. I would suggest go drastic, big by big. No more little by little, because especially when you're in pain, we're in a lot of pain, it's not worth it. So really, do not eat any refined sugar, 0. Do not drink any caffeine, 0. Do not eat any hybridized wheat, 0. Take those 3 out and see what happens. Then you can also focus on other things that can irritate the blood, like peanuts with the mold in the peanuts. This can be a lot of things. It could be mercury fillings in the mouth. Maybe you have mercury fillings in the mouth, amalgam fillings, which is affecting your whole neurological system, your nervous system. There's wild yam cream, which helps rebuild bone and strengthen bone. And then there's comfrey salve. Comfrey salve is great, but comfrey salve is usually used on parts of the body that's hurting, not so much all over the body. Also, how much water are you drinking? Make sure you're drinking plenty of water every day. So those are the biggest things I've seen with fibromyalgia. Is actually, it says no known cause, no known cure, but really I found that when people change their lifestyle, they change their diet, they start drinking water, and they start looking at other little things like amalgam fillings, or if they have breast implants, or if they have any other kind of implants in the body, to really start delving in. Make sure you don't have mold in your home and things like that, okay? Norma says, or Nope, that's not a question. Daryl says, I would like to know what I can use to help lower my blood pressure. So we talked about that a little bit already. It's funny, I thought he said, I'm taking a high dose of Satan, but it's sartan. Don't take a dose of Satan. Yeah, so like I was saying earlier, hibiscus, cayenne, hawthorn, those are some really great herbs. Also diet, exercise, drinking plenty of water, making sure you get little granules of Celtic salt, crystals of Celtic salt, sea salt in your body. Penny says, I'm trying to eat more healthy and mostly plant-based, but my body can't seem to handle beans, lentils, or oats. They make me so bloated and gassy. Also raw broccoli and cauliflower too. I feel like I have no choice but to eat meat and eggs a lot. What can I do? Thank you. Well, there's nothing wrong with eating healthy meat. If you find that meat works well for your body and you run well on it, then I would suggest make sure you eat very healthy meat. Humanely raised, organic, grass-fed, no antibiotics, no hormones, free range, all the things. I think that's fine if you go well on it. Try cooked, you said you can't eat raw, so maybe try cooked broccoli and cooked cauliflower and start with a little. Maybe it's too much. As far as lentils and beans and oats go, oats, sometimes people can't handle oats because there's a lot of lectins and it can be causing a lot of inflammation in the body. So you may want to consider soaking and rinsing your lentils and beans. If you're not, those need to be soaked and rinsed. That's usually what causes people to be bloated and gassy. So that should help you a little bit there. Okay, Telemonte said, hi, Jaqueline. I pray you and your family are well. She's excited about our new tinctures, the Rhodiola rosea, and the focus and the calming, the mindful. Let's see. It's kind of a long question, so I'm just trying to scan for you guys. Let's see. For her 6-year-old, she has a lot of energy and tantrums, so I was wanting something she can take to calm her and help her focus throughout the day. Which of the two do you suggest? Okay, out of calming or mindful, I see. She's asking which one for her 6-year-old. She likes to purchase from our stores and trusts us. Thank you so much for your sweet words. That's very kind. So we have a mindful and we have a Rhodiola rosea. Rhodiola rosea is really good for any kind of anxiety, depression, and mood. So that's why I really love rhodiola. It helps boost mood. And then mindful is made for like focus, mental clarity, confusion, kind of like the fog that we get in our mind. It's supposed to be helpful for helping clear the mind, because of the herbs. So ginkgo biloba, gotu kola, Korean ginseng, sage, these are all, and this is infused with all these wonderful herbs to help the mind, think clearly, memory, focus, attention. And we do have a calming tincture. I don't have it here, but I do have it in the workshop. And calming is also very good for kiddos to focus and to calm and to soothe them. So I would think the calming one would be ideal since she already has plenty of energy. You could almost do the calm and try that. And then you could always do the mindful later too to help her focus if you wanted to. She said her 12-year-old seems to be allergic to mosquitoes and they are very much attracted to her. Every time she gets bit, the bite swells up. What can I use on her when she gets a mosquito bite for itching and swelling? What can she use to repel them naturally? So I would ask, what's your 12-year-old eating? If there's a lot of sugar in the blood, if there's a lot of, soda in the blood, if there's a lot of processed foods and chemicals, these are things that mosquitoes are very much attracted to. It's very tasty blood to them. So the more herbs you have in your bloodstream, the more garlic, for example, the more water, the more vitamins, nutrients, minerals, dark leafy greens and fruit, it's not so appealing. It's not really their forte. So take your body off their menu. Yeah, I don't want to eat that. So really focus on what she's eating and what her blood is like. That's what I would do. Now, that's always what I do. That's the first thing I look at is what are they eating? What are they drinking? Charcoal poultice, like we talked about earlier, is really helpful over a bite or a wound. You can take or ice. You can use ice, like I was saying earlier. Joel makes the itch relief salve. That's very helpful. You can rub over bug bites or itches, anything that's really itchy, but ice is helpful. She can take charcoal internally too to help reduce the swelling internally, hydrotherapy. And so I would just use the same protocol that I was talking about earlier in the beginning of the video on bug bites to help. But really it's, and then, there's all kinds of natural essential oil blends you can make as a natural bug repellent, and you can spray that on the body. Tea tree, lemongrass, lavender, rosemary. There's all kinds of wonderful herb blends you can mix together and spray on clothing, and if you know she's going to be outside. Amelia says, can castor oil help an intramuscular lymphoma? It's on my forearm. It's painless, but it's growing. Yes. Castor oil, I would start on wild yam cream and also red clover. Those are some things that can really help with that and reduce that. But keep the castor oil on there all the time, as much as you can. It helps. Castor oil is a deep penetrating oil which breaks up lumps, bumps, bone spurs, adhesions, cysts, tumor, you name it. It just breaks it up. It's very intelligent because God made it that way. It knows to break up the bone spur, not the bone. Yeah, pretty cool. Debbie says, can you suggest anything natural for achy joints? I'm interested in the teas. I would suggest a ginger poultice. You can make a ginger poultice and you can apply that over the joints that are hurting. That's by shredding fresh ginger and putting it in between a cloth, and you wrap the hand or the fingers or the joints in that. Also make sure you're drinking water. Your synovial fluid is mostly comprised of water, and that's what lubricates our joints. So make sure you're drinking plenty of water every day. The older you get, the more you do not crave water. So you do not want that. You don't get that feeling of water, that thirst sensation starts to leave. So make sure you're drinking water, plenty of it. Make yourself drink it, set a timer, do tally marks, whatever you need to do. Put water glasses all over your house to remind you to drink your water. Castor oil poultices can help achy joints. Your diet is very important. Make sure you're eating lots of minerals, avoiding refined sugar, hybridized wheat. Those are things that will, caffeine will really wreak havoc on the bones and the joints and the tendons and the body. I suggest maybe getting on the wild yam cream. We have quite a few different ones back there. I'll show you guys before I end the video here in a few minutes. We started late, so I have about 5 minutes left. I can go a little later for you. This one's from David and Jaqueline Smith. What do you suggest for influenza A? That got us all really bad. Oh no. There's something called the flu bomb. Have you heard of it? It's quite tasty. You can find that recipe on our website, okbehealthy.com. There's a recipe for the flu bomb, and that's made with crushed ginger, crushed garlic. You can put turmeric in it. You can put some honey in it. It either has eucalyptus, tea tree, or oregano essential oil in it, some hot water, some cayenne pepper, some lemon. It is quite something. And you take that. You can take that daily. You can take it a few times a day to see if that helps you. I don't recommend it if you are vomiting. You don't want to vomit that up, and you definitely don't want to vomit it out through the nose. That'd be terrible. So don't take a flu bomb if you're vomiting. But definitely there's vitamin C bombs. We have a recipe for a vitamin C bomb on there too, which is zinc and D3 and vitamin C and orange juice. But I would definitely look into doing the flu bomb. Plenty of water, plenty of minerals, plenty of rest. Eat if you feel like eating. It's interesting. The body naturally does not want to eat when you don't feel well, right? Have you ever been there where you're just like, I don't want anything, and your mom's forcing you to like drink? Oh, when I was little, it was 7-Up and Sprite and soda crackers, right? But you just don't feel like eating. And now I know that's not so good for you, right? But, sip water, make sure you're eating your mineral salt. That's the best thing you can do if your body's not feeling like eating. It's okay. Animals actually do not eat when they're sick. And if anyone is at an animal, that's to be true sometimes, because the first thing you know is when your animal doesn't feel well, they're not eating, and you're like, she's not eating, what's wrong? But that doesn't mean there's anything wrong when you don't want to eat, when you're not feeling well. Now, if you don't want to eat for a very long time, then we need to look at that. But generally, it's okay to go on fast when you're not feeling well. But yeah, plenty of vitamin C. You can look into oregano. You can look into, but yeah, the flu bomb basically has all that. So, I usually ride it out when I get the flu. I just stick with my vitamin C and I just ride it out. Stay hydrated, drink tea, rest, read, take naps if I have a headache, take cayenne pepper, and white willow, which we're going to talk about in a minute. I just learned about white willow, so that's exciting. Jacqueline Silviera says, hello, Jacqueline. What would you suggest for a globus sensation? So that's that lump feeling in the throat. So what I would do is I would apply castor oil compress to the throat at least 12 hours a day, maybe at nighttime. I would start using magnesium glycinate. I would look into if you have acid reflux. There's a lot of things that can come with this, so a little bit of history would be nice. So I'm just kind of going with off a whim. But if the person has hydrochloric acid or weak hydrochloric acid, you need to strengthen your hydrochloric acid. But yeah, I would first start with magnesium glycinate and castor oil compresses and strengthening my hydrochloric acid, changing my diet, avoiding allergen foods, right? Gluten, that's the wheat, refined sugar, caffeine. I would just take out all the culprits that could be possibly causing me harm. Sarah said, what would you recommend for chronic postnasal drip? I would recommend checking your diet, avoiding all the allergens, hybridized wheat, dairy, the gluten with the wheat, refined sugar, peanuts, oats, taking all of that out and seeing if any of those are the culprits. Now, if you can handle dairy, then great. Make sure it's raw and organic and clean. But definitely it could be oats, it could be peanuts, it could be wheat. It's usually wheat or dairy. I've seen a lot with the postnasal drip constantly. You can take golden seal, you can snort golden seal, or you can just take it internally like a tincture or a supplement as well. Rebecca said, hello, Jacqueline. Will the flu bomb get rid of a sinus infection? And how many cups do I need to take in a day? Oh, yeah. So we just talked about the flu bomb. I would say 2 is probably good a day. 2 flu bombs a day, morning, afternoon, possibly 3. You could try. Your body will tell you if it's like, whoa, we met our max. We don't want any more. Also, I would cut onions, chop onions, make sure your nose breathing in all that wonderful onion vapor. That will really help to clean the sinuses, and put chopped onion all over your house in bowls. The more you chop it, the more it can absorb of toxins and also help heal the air. I call it healing the air, but that lovely onion vapor is very healing. So it doesn't make your house smell good, but it doesn't last long. People will be like, who has not taken a shower in quite a few days? Is the Grinch here? Okay. Julianda says, hi there. What's a good natural sunscreen to use, please? By the way, I love what you are doing. Well, thank you. I like it too. So you know what? We don't use sunscreen unless we're going to Florida. Once a year we go to Florida and we're in the sun and the boys love to just ride the waves all day long. And some of them can't wear a ball cap all day long. Like Jonas has long hair, so him wearing a ball cap doesn't work. So we have discovered a sunscreen. It's called Wax Head. WAXHEAD, Wax Head. And it's wonderful. It's a wonderful natural sunscreen. It's the first one I found that I really love all the ingredients too. Now I still don't use sunscreen if we're just going outside for a couple hours here and there. We wear a ball cap, we wear a long sleeve. We're careful. But if I know we're going to be in the sun like 8 hours at the beach and doing fun things, there may not be shade, et cetera, then I do have Wax Head. WAXHEAD. So check that out. G said, hi, Jacqueline. Hope you're well. Any recommendations for ovarian cysts, please? Yes. Stop all caffeine. Stop all refined sugar. Stop all hybridized wheat. Make sure you're wearing a castor oil compress over your abdomen, over your ovaries. Get on wild yam cream as soon as possible. We have a few different kinds. We have a mild and a regular. The mild is just with wild yam cream, or the mild is just with, the wild yam. And then we have a regular that has the wild yam and the chasteberry in it. That helps hormone balancing. We have one that's scented with geranium in the regular, and then we have mild and regular. And then we have, a plus, which it's a stack. We stack the herbs. So it has the wild yam, the chasteberry, and the dong quai for hot flash relief. And then we have extreme. We have an extreme men because yes, men also have hormonal imbalances, and we have a women's extreme for more extreme hormonal imbalances. So you can find those on our website. It's our Whipped Wild Yam Cream, and it's kind of just designed to customize, helping you balance your hormones for where you're at and what you're needing. So I would suggest getting on a wild yam cream right away to help balance hormones. I would just do the regular, unless you have other symptoms. But that's a good way. How do you apply wild yam cream? You apply it twice a day, 3 weeks on, 1 week off for women. The 1 week off is during your period week. If you don't have a period, you still take a week off. For men, they apply it twice a day, and they don't take a week off. And little ones might need it, maybe nine or so, when they start to going through puberty too early. And older people might need it that might have already gone through, all their hormone issues, but now they're experiencing bone loss and hair loss and hard time sleeping. And so those are some symptoms of also needing to balance hormones. And wild yam is very good at helping rebuild bone by stimulating those osteoclast and osteoblast cells through the natural progesterone stimulation that it gives the body through your normal hormonal pathways. So it's not giving you anything synthetic. Okay. Now let's see, where did it go? Okay, Norma said, what to do for type 1 diabetes? My nephew has it. And so the best thing is changing diet and lifestyle. Really look into what he's eating, what he's drinking. And it's hard to do it for someone, right? So he's gonna want to have to do it. We can't make anyone do anything. And so we have to just encourage them kindly. And just give them ideas and just love them where they're at and just encourage them to make different health choices. And also, for example, if you're having them over for a lunch, make sure you're providing foods that are going to heal them. So provide salads, don't order in like a pizza, for example. Make sure you're providing a nice healthy lunch as an example to help them heal. But yeah, there's a lot of wonderful herbs for the blood that you can look into, for diabetes. But it's really needs to start with, what they're eating and what they're drinking, what their lifestyle is all about. I like Gemina, there's cinnamon, there's fenugreek, there's berberine, there's, golden seal, cause berberine's in golden seal, and bilberry. No, that's for the eyes. Barberry. So there are some really good herbs for the blood. Cayenne pepper. There's some good things. And remember, when we do the possible, God does the impossible. And he's so good at it too. But we have to do everything we can. And that's when we can believe for miracles to happen. Do I know people for sure that have had type 1 diabetes and that don't have it anymore? Yes. Do I know that they did all the possible things? Yes. Do I know God does the impossible? Yes. And it's so cool to see. So we'll be praying for that for him. And then you also asked about your daughter's left leg is swollen. Doctor said it's a fatty tissue wrapped around her bone. He said it's a tumor, non-cancerous. Well, that's good. The first thing I would do is start on hydrotherapy as long as she doesn't have neuropathy. And that's putting the foot in hot water for 3 minutes and then in the leg into ice cold water for 30 seconds. You'll have to get pretty ingenuitive, as far as figuring how to get to the leg in a deep enough bath. But if you get like a tub or an old bucket, those Lowe's buckets or things like that, you could probably do it in that. And then you do that for a cycle of 3 every day. That'll help the inflammation come down. There's something called rebounding. If it's hard for her to stand, then she could just sit on the rebounder or just gently stand on the rebounder, hold the handle and just gently go down like this and work her way so she can do a little bit more bouncing. That will help move the lymphatic system, her lymph. Red clover is very good for tumor. It helps. It's nicknamed herbal scalpel. It's the herbal scalpel for tumor. So you could look into taking red clover, doing hydrotherapy, same, watch diet, lifestyle. Those things need to change. Go to an alkaline diet. Make sure she's drinking enough water, eating plenty of Celtic salt. You could wrap castor oil over the fatty tissue that has been there. I don't know if it's a lump, but it says that it's a tumor. So definitely look into those things. And last question, Linda Johnson Phelps, how to treat 5-year-old headache. So I wasn't quite sure if you meant 5-year-old, a child 5-year-old, or a 5 years you've had a headache. That'd be terrible if you had a headache for 5 years. So I'm not quite sure. I guess I can answer it both ways. If it's for a little one with a headache, definitely look and see how much water they're drinking. Look and see what they're eating. Maybe you need to change their lifestyle, their habits, and their diet. This can be applied to anyone, actually. There is something called white willow. You could consider doing white willow. It has a property in it that works on a natural way, like aspirin does. Aspirin is no, but white willow. I just learned that from my friend Leslie. She had a lot to tell me about white willow. It was quite interesting. So white willow is a very good herb for pain relief. Also cayenne pepper. Balancing your hormones. Now, if you're 5, I don't think you should be balancing hormones. If you're an adult, definitely look into balancing your hormones, especially if it's a chronic headache. You definitely want to address that. Make sure you're drinking water, getting your minerals. You can put the feet in hot water and put a cold cloth on the head. So it's almost like you do a hydrotherapy for the whole body at the same time. So the feet are pulling down the blood from the head, and you keep the head cool. And you can do that maybe like 15 minutes. Few times each day to help move the blood. So that is the end of my questions today. Sorry guys, I wasn't as interactive as far as your comments in real time because I'm not seeing them. But that's okay. Thanks for watching today. I think the only thing I did not show you was our Comfrey Plus salve. So my son Joel makes Comfrey Plus. It's a great salve for any kind of bones, joints, tendons, aches and pains. You just can't use it over metal or any kind of fake parts in the body. So you just want to use it over like a joint or a bone that does not have metal. You can use it on the body. If you have, for example, if you have metal on the knee, you can use it on your shoulder that doesn't have anything. That's just sore. It's fine. That's no problem at all. So thanks for watching, everybody. It's Friday. Can you believe it? Announcements November 20th, which is a Thursday, 3:30 to 4:30. I'm having a class here live at the Prepare for Healing building. And this is a health focus class we're talking about immune system to the max. Maximizing your immune system, what the immune system is, how we can do to naturally empower it and to invigorate it and keep it healthy, so that we can stay healthy, help our body stay healthy. What other announcement did I have? I think that was the only announcement I had, the class. Oh, we will be closed Monday and Tuesday next week. So mark that on your calendars. If you need anything, come today. If you need anything, if you need us to help you put your package together, you're welcome to call our store. Talk to Janine. She's here this morning. But that's about it. That's all the announcements I had. Have a really great weekend. I'll see you guys next Wednesday for our Right Away Q&A. And Fridays are our Sit Down Fridays. So I'll see you then too. So have a great weekend. I'll see you later. Okay, be healthy, pals.